Okay, let's switch again and talk about the debt market. So it's a brand new month of July. So what's the playbook for the markets? Of course, we know the debt office will do the usual monthly Naira bond offering. But what else is going to make headlines for the month we're stepping into today? Let's talk to Ladi Bello, who is a treasury bills dealer at Access Bank. He's live to us from FMDQ Securities Exchange Place. Good morning, Ladi. It's good to see you. Ladi, I'm sure you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Loud and clear. Good morning. So, what's on your calendar for the new month? Tell me.
Okay, well, last week we saw some bullish sentiments in the markets in the T-bill space. This was generally skewed towards our medium to long tenured bills. This was as a result of the slowdown in pace of the OMO auction that is usually floated by the CBN. So the last time we've seen an OMO auction is the first week in June. As a result of that, we saw the bills in our market rally by an average of about 50 basis points during the week. So we don't expect fundamentally a change in this pace. So we expect to see counterparties still scrambling for the bills that they can see this month at relatively attractive levels. We'll still see some rallying in the bills market, again skewed toward the medium and long tenured maturities, because these are the bills that are highly sought after in the absence of an OMO auction. We're going to see an OMO maturity this week of about 46 billion. We're also going to expect some FAC inflows. We're supposed to expect them today, but they might start trickling in from tomorrow. Because of this, we expect to see an OMO auction being floated in the market to mop up this excess liquidity. But we don't expect the recurrence of this trend, as the CBN has expressed a mandate to slow down the issuance of bills in this OMO space to facilitate and to foster growth within the economy.
So if we look at a trend of things, I'm sure you've been in the market for quite some time, Ladi, in terms of how local and foreign investors in treasury bill space or fixed income space play the market. We're done with first half. For second half, what's your outlook from them, from the PFAs, the insurance, the annuities guys, everyone else, who are big boys who play this market on a daily basis?
That's correct. So the PFAs and the offshore counterparties are the main drivers in our market. So when they come into play, we see a lot of volatility within the space. Rates are at suppressed levels, and I don't see rates being changed at this point in time. So I expect to see within the next 4 to 8 weeks, we're in a regime of low rates within the fixed income space. Having said this, there's a mandate for PFAs to buy. They have long-term liabilities that they need to match off. So we'll still see them coming into play in our markets. Also on the bond side, as we've seen yields on this side inch gradually upwards. For offshore counterparties, they have a limit in terms of the yields that they're expecting on their instruments. So we saw them come into play at 14% yield levels. We still expect them to see, still expect to see some interest on our bills at this 13% handle, simply because they have limited space, or they have a book for emerging markets so that they need to fill their orders at. Having said this, we expect to see Fed rates currently at 2.25% to gradually come down to about 2%. On the back of this as well, we're seeing the trade war information between the US and the North Korea become a little bit blurry in terms of where they stand. We've seen the pace of this slowdown as well. So overall, we still see market sentiments to be positive from PFAs, offshore counterparties, and insurance companies in Nigeria.
Thank you so much for raising the curtain for us this morning on the debt market side. Thank you so much, Ladi Bello, treasury bills dealer at Access Bank, talking to us from FMDQ Exchange Place. Thank you so much. Have a great day and a very profitable week. The stock market here is getting started in a bit of a negative position, 0.46%. Investors booking some profit on some of the big banks. GT Bank shares down about 5.93%. As we start in the first hour of trading, again, you heard GT Bank announcing that the board of directors will meet in about 3 weeks' time. There may be an interim dividend. Underscore, there may be an interim cash dividend. That was the statement. to the stock exchange says on Friday last week. So they'll consider the books, the financial statements, and all of that. This morning, GT Bank is taking a bit of some beating on that this morning. Investors trying to take a position on that. So if you're in the market, you know how this works. But the story around the reporting period is also opening. We'll find a number of companies like United Capital and others giving notice of the closure of books and everything to wrap up the first half of the year. All these announcements are coming through as part of the regulatory requirements. But the big story, as you may already know, is the Airtel Nigeria listing. It was a Pan-African IPO, $750 million US, listed in London. But out of the entire African unit, Nigeria is where Airtel is listing a separate shares on the local bourse, and that gives you an insight into how this works. So let's talk to Adedayo Bakari from AfroInvest. Is one of the investment analysts is talking to us from our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Adedayo, good morning.
Good morning, Bosun.
Adedayo, good morning. Welcome to the program. Okay, yes, I'm trying to.
Thanks.
Okay, I wish you could hear me. So let's talk us through the Airtel planned listing this week. The pricing had been done. What else are you guys, who are investment analysts, what else are you looking out for?
Okay, the Airtel IPO is an interesting one, given the fact that we've seen, MTN come to the market in the, second quarter. The very good thing about, the Airtel listing is that this is actually an IPO where you have shares being sold to the public, as against what you had during MTN when it was, a listing by introduction, and we, all knew all the, frictions that occurred as a result. Now, for the MTN, for the Airtel Africa listing, it's going to take place on Thursday. We've seen it was priced at around 363 naira. And also, you find that in London, it was priced around that range as well. It was trading in London as of last week, and over the trading days we saw last week, it actually declined by around 16%. So coming to the market on Wednesday, we believe, on Thursday rather, we believe it's a good thing for the market. Number one, you continue to have a better depth in the market. So initially, the telecom sector, has been largely absent from the market, and as a result of that, you have very weak, stock market capitalization to GDP. But with the entry of MTN and Africa and Airtel Africa as well, you expect that Nigeria's stock market capitalization to GDP, will expand to around 10–11%, which is good. But to put that in perspective, in South Africa, we have over 200% for the same ratio, which shows that there's still a lot of room for growth. Also, with the coming of Airtel Africa into the market, raising about $750 million, the main purpose of the capital raising is actually to deleverage the balance sheet. So Airtel Africa has a lot of debt holdings, and one of the reasons for raising capital is actually to reduce this exposure, especially to foreign currency liabilities as well. For us, we believe it's a fantastic development for the market, and we expect that the market capitalization, which will be over 500 billion, will expand the current market capitalization of the market, which is around 13 trillion. Also for us, I think it's important to note that the telecom sector is around 10% of the GDP, and so with the addition of Airtel Africa, we get a better picture, of what is actually happening within the economy. So we can accurately, we can better say that the stock market is actually a leading indicator for market performance.
Adedayo Bakari, thank you so much from AfroInvest. We appreciate your winning at the end of the conversation today. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, 10 o'clock in the morning, for your business morning.